Okay, so one of my favorite ones is God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
How the worship be like, we worship.
You know, it don't take much. I'll tap in with you. Okay.
Yeah.
It don't take much.
That's one of my faves.
Yeah.
And then
that sounds pretty decent. So I see you've been practicing. That's good to hear.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Your voice is growing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hello, Dougie, Whitney Reign. Hey.
Hello, family.
So this is our first official catch-up episode, and the catch-ups are just going to be me chatting with some of the folks that we got to interview before. And I really wanted to have this gem on here because I wanted to have Whitney Reign back on for a plethora of reasons. I probably reached out to her, months ago to be like, we're gonna catch back up with you, see what's going on, and we never got to it. But that's okay because everything happens at the right time for everybody. Y'all, as y'all can see, Dougie is here too. We're all separated. We're not together like normal, but we still gonna make sure that the Spirit of the Lord is in this place.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Dougie's doing right now, but y'all just pray for Dougie. We're just gonna start off and say that.
Hey, pray my strength in the Lord.
Pray his strength in the Lord. And luckily, Whitney Reign is not a stranger to the KOSIGN podcast, so I ain't gotta explain.
Prep me.
We gonna play shout music. She gonna sing the whole time. We gonna get through this interview, y'all. We gonna do this. So, and this actually is the first time I think a lot of the listeners are even seeing or hearing me because we have been delaying the relaunch of the KOSIGN podcast. We have quite a few episodes already recorded, some surprises in there, some really good episodes of people y'all probably wouldn't even expect us to be interviewing. But we have some pretty cool interviews already ready to rock and roll. You know, I had to put some things off when my dad passed and kind of get my mind right. And so let's just play catch up, okay? You had a lot going on in 2018, a lot of amazing, exciting things. And then you went away for a little bit. Yeah. So just catch us up. You can give us your own summary.
So I had my baby in 2016. He was born in 2016. Me and his father broke up. So I had been away from him. The first year of my son's life, I was away from him, rebuilding my life, getting back into my groove and all of that stuff. So, you know, I have... You will not. We're going to get into that. That's can we get to the groove? Okay. No.
You said groove.
So, groove of just being away from negativity, being away from that, what my whole EP is about. So I had been in a toxic, abusive relationship for a very long time. And it took me until the time that I had disappeared for a while to be able to accept it. I wasn't accepting it. I kept putting it off. I kept saying, no, this is not me. This is not me. So around that time, I still hadn't accepted it. I was just away from him. And I was still trying to, you know, rebuild myself and, you know, thinking that I was okay and I could build myself back up. And I still wasn't over the situation. Around the time of me getting the opportunity from the show, I decided to take him back after being broken up from him for a year. And the abuse began again. Lord, have mercy, Jesus. everything from the show happened. It was great. That was kind of my escape. And then I ended up having to come back home and deal with it. And then I was with him every single day. And then I just kind of went into a funk, and I was embarrassed and got to a point where I couldn't express myself the way I wanted to. I know you guys have been reaching out to me. I was embarrassed to come out. I didn't know how to talk about it. I wasn't talking to my family about it. I just kind of stayed in my little apartment, in my little hole, in my little shell. And then that eventually made me crack. And then I kind of, my body just kind of gave out, which is one of the first records I talked about. It's called Let It Out. They told me I suffered from acute PTSD. And the advice that they gave to me was, whatever it is that you love to do, get into it, write. I do music, I record, I write. So I was like, okay, so every single day I was writing, I was recording. I was just writing my feelings. And that's why music therapy is music therapy. So music helped me get back to me again.
But I can tell you haven't been out because you're lighter skinned than before.
With my non-Danielle.
Honey, we are all in here together, okay? We are.
I can tell you haven't been out.
You know what, Dougie?
I've been trying, but the quarantine happened. So you cannot even put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Your face is the same color as that nail. Pink.
I know he ain't talking because he light skinned too.
I'm golden.
Whitney Reign is probably taking heed to all of the rules and regulations of quarantine. Meanwhile, Dougie, who is
this is a sad thing, Keith. I be outside with my baby every single day. I take him on his bike. I still can't get no color.
Okay, you beautiful. You need to be an ounce more brown than you are. You are perfect just like that. So
you tried it.
Him and his comic relief, that's classic Dougie.
You know what? I'm not prepared for you and your nonsense today.
Hey man, you should be.
People been hitting me off with all these emotional messages, and you want to be sarcastic today on the chat.
That's what he does. It's like you never know what is on your hands, Dougie.
It's on my what?
Hands.
Oh, I had a pen and it burst while I was sitting here.
You look like my son would play. He looked like that now. He was playing with Marcus today.
I didn't want to.
3-year-old self.
Get up and do anything about it. And also, does my hair look horrible?
About the EP itself.
Mm-hmm.
When you decided to actually go in and record it, what producers did you work with? Like, where did you get these tracks from?
The track. YouTube.
Okay. People, YouTube works.
No, this is some real stuff. Like, this is real stuff. YouTube. We use YouTube producers to be able to do this. I didn't reach out to nobody at that time. I couldn't even have a normal conversation with anybody, to be honest, in the music industry at that time, outside of my immediate circle. So, my brother was searching up stuff. I was searching up stuff, and we found the tracks that we liked, and that's how it worked. And
you're resourceful, folks.
For real. Like, don't be sleeping on these YouTube producers. It's some real. They be out. Yeah.
You know what? Then that speaks to your ability to write, because it seems like those songs are tailor fit to what there's the content that you're writing to. So that means that you're just really good.
I can't write to any track that I don't feel.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, for me personally, and that's YouTube producer working with. If I were to work with Timbaland one day, Timbaland could play me a minute in which they will all probably be dope. But if it's not the track that I feel that doesn't fit with the melody in my head and the tone of my voice, I can't. It's not for me. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want me to write for another artist, I can tap into that. But, for me, if it's a Whitney project, that's completely different. So at that time, obviously, I wasn't thinking about writing for nobody else. I was just trying to not end up in a crazy home that I ended up in. And don't laugh about it now. But
you were trying to emote.
I did emote. I had to just let it out.
Yeah. Let it out. Yeah.
There's no other way to explain it. I had to let it out. And when I heard every single track that I picked, all 5 of them for the EP, I that's what it was. My spirit told me. I always go. I'm spiritual, obviously, big on energy. And if I get this chill, I be getting this one chill from right here all the way down. What?
You get that too?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one. That one right there.
I've watched, as we said in our previous interview, your entire journey kind of unfold. And I would have never in a million years thought that you have dealt with as much as you've dealt with. So before we go any further, thank you once again. And I said this in the last interview, because you represented so many people kind of like ready for you to do your thing. And you always did it on your own terms, and you never hid from us. You know, like we got to see you get pregnant. Well, we didn't see you get pregnant. I know I could have said something so fast. Let me rewind what I'm saying.
He said, we all drink it. Everybody drink it.
Honey, I got my glass of red because I figured.
I'm not drinking. Hey, can I get a beer? It'll be up shortly.
The last time you were on, had you already recorded the 4?
Yeah, I've been in talks of me being on the first season, but I just wasn't personally ready.
Yeah.
I had just had Levi like fresh off the baby train, so I was like, like I don't know. I had to get back in the studio and go through all of that and find my confidence.
Yeah.
I guess I would say again. And so when they reached out to me again the second season, I was like, okay. I had asked my parents, I was like, do y'all think I should do this? They're reaching out to me again. I ain't do it. And then my dad was like, I think it may be a good opportunity. So then we talked to, his name was Joshua Hart.
Shout out to Joshua Hart.
Oh,
I love Joshua Hart. Yes.
I don't know
Joshua Hart, but Joshua Hart, a lot of people know him. But he was working with them at the time, and we called him and had a conversation, and our conversation felt right. And then that's when I decided to go to LA and do the audition.
You never know what people are going through. What was your kind of, and if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to, but what was your thought process when you decided to get back with him if he was abusive? What were those kind of like negotiations that you had with yourself?
Well, it was a combination of him being the father of my son, us being together for, at that time, it was 8+ years, almost 9 years at the time. The history, you know, and I was also still in denial of the situation. Like,
and what does denial look like in that situation? What did it look like for you, if you don't mind me?
Oh, Jesus. It was so many different things. And this is somebody that I have been dealing with since I was 16, 17 years old. So really, this is the only like true love I've ever experienced and known. So in a sense, like this is, I had kind of been, I can't necessarily say I was groomed into the situation, but you know, like, this You're was
comfortable
it.
with it. Yeah. It's what you know.
That's all I knew. And it was just difficult to walk away. And I walked away once, and I'd actually been away from him. And I thought I had got over it, but I was still angry. And I was at that time back with my parents and trying not to disappoint them. And I was afraid to tell them too, I need help. I just had a baby. I need help. I think I need therapy. I got all these things inside of me. I want to cry some days. Like, there's some days I just don't want to come out of my room. I was fighting all of these emotions and was just still trying to stay tough.
Yeah.
So I had saw him again after almost a year of being away from him. And he came to me with this crying story, and it got me. you know, it got me. He looked me right in my eyes, and I started thinking about when we first met, you know, when we first fell in love, and those first jitters, and how I wish I could have that back again. And, you know, we have a child. I want a family. I don't want my son to be a statistic. I don't want him to grow up not having a father. I don't want to be a statistic of not being married to my son's father. That whole thing. I started thinking about all of that. And I took it back. Mm-hmm. But the whole agreement was too that we were supposed to go to therapy. And of course, he gave me all the, yes, we're going to do this. And as soon as he moved out here, I kept procrastinating. Then I went on the show. So I was away from him for a while. Came back, even worse. That was one, like, nobody would ever think that I would be that girl.
I said that earlier. I never in a million years
would ever think I would be. And I never, that's why I was in denial.
Yeah.
That's why I was in denial. And
well, I'll say this. If I need somebody to keep a secret, I'll tell it to you. Cause I'm a fan. Like, you're like a steel trap over there.
Yeah, like, that's why I ended up in the mental
institution
though, Dougie. Like, it's a real, like, I kept all this stuff in for so long that it landed me in a mental institution because I could not, my body said, no more. Mm-hmm. You can't handle this on your own no more. God said no more.
What was the breaking point when you finally just walked away from that relationship? What was that moment that kind of led to that, and how did it feel walking away from it?
Well, I will tell you guys, I'll say it now, because I mean, at this point, I don't know whether you're gonna keep it in or edit it. Yeah. I never went back after that.
As well.
Good.
But it's one thing to leave a situation, and it's a totally different thing for all sorts of reasons to be like, not only am I leaving it, but I'm about to just blast it. I'm about to just share it. Not even just record it, because you could have recorded this whole EP for therapy purposes and kept it.
It was almost like that.
Yeah. So what gives you the courage in these situations?
And can I tack on something to that? Not only the courage to write about this experience, because you have to revisit the experience to write about it, but also the courage coming off of this show that's very pop friendly and making some content that's super dark, actually. Where does that courage come from? And I'm going to say justify just because I can't think of a better word. How do you justify that? And how do you because I'm pretty sure many people would say, hey, don't do that. Don't release that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how do you do that? And where's that courage come from?
This was actually the first time I've ever recorded anything, and it wasn't about my career. It wasn't about trying to impress a record label. It wasn't about trying to get a record deal. It wasn't trying to impress a team. It was heartfelt. Like the records that you hear outside of the last song, it's called The Last Song, and Let It Out were actually two records I had just recently wrote and recorded. And I wrote and recorded those because God was and said, wake up, Whitney, find some tracks, write something. And it just flowed through me. But the other records that you hear, Right from Wrong, Same Routine, Dirty, I was on the verge. Those were right before I went into the mental institution. And at that point in my life, some days I would wake up and not be myself. Some days I would wake up and not be able to talk properly. Some days I would wake up and be frightened for no reason, hallucinating, seeing things that I wasn't seeing. And I felt like singing was the only way I could, get it out. And I was just, those are fresh emotions.
Yeah.
You know, so you can hear and you can feel it.
Yeah.
And the only person that I trusted at that time too to even deal was my brother. So my brother recorded me and co-wrote and had to fight back tears himself. I commend my brother because he's 18 years old. Like,
oh man.
And I'm his older sister, and you know, I'm somebody that he has looked up to, and he's seeing me, not myself. So he had to really be strong for me. So I'm getting emotional now.
Right.
That was a whole moment. So just going back in my mind, thinking about that, refining my strength, getting into therapy. You know, I started groups. I've been going into groups with other abused women and, you know, talking to them. And I found my strength again. And I just told myself, I'm like, these people need to hear this. I can't sit, these records can't sit in my phone no more. I can't. There's other women going through this situation. There's other men going through, because it's not just women. I know it's a lot of people in this world that have been through it and have seen it. And somebody needed to give them a voice. And I'm a vessel.
Yeah.
I feel like I found the reason why God put me on this earth.
What is your message?
Is to help other people heal.
What message would you give to someone who's going through the exact same thing that you've gone through?
Mm-hmm.
What would you offer them?
Don't go back. If they hit you one time, they're gonna hit you again. Don't think you can change someone. You are enough. You deserve the world. You deserve more than what you're getting. Get out. One thing about abusers, they try to separate you from your closest people. That's what started to happen to me. He was trying to separate me from my family and my friends, trying to dry out all your resources. So they become they become your only resource, you know? And let me tell, like, it's so, like, call your mama. That's what I'm trying to call your mama, call your dad. I'm telling you, tell them that man putting hands on you, they're gonna roll up no matter what state you're in, no matter where you at, no matter what country. They will go get a passport. I'm telling you, they're gonna come. They're gonna come and get you. Do not be afraid. And if you don't have that support system, call the police. And I understand that the system doesn't always, they're not always there for victims.
Yeah. And if they don't answer, call me, because I'm
call
coming.
Dougie.
I got thieves with me, and these are no jokes.
Like, will come through for you. Trust me, he's a very reliable person.
It's a real thing. It's real though.
But I think a lot of times people look at situations like, oh, that would never happen to me because I'm strong, I'm independent, I'm loved, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm not saying that even in that sometimes there aren't some like underlying things that cause women or people to allow abuse into their space. But I am saying that if you do come from a situation where you do have men in your life, or like brothers or fathers or uncles or cousins who you know gonna roll up for you, you might need to be even more sensitive to some of those manipulative behaviors and patterns, because you kind of live in a space that feels like it would never happen to you, you know? And so just it's just ironic to me that you do come from so much support in your life, as far as men are concerned. And then even you can be in a spot where you're like, I'm not calling anybody.
It can happen, because it can happen. That's another thing. That's another reason why I came out, because I want people to know it can happen to anybody. It happened to me. It can happen to anyone. You don't know. That's why they always say, watch out for the person who's always making the most jokes, laughing. They could laughing the most. They could be the ones that are suffering the most.
Who told you that?
Myself, because you told. You're going nuts. We're all going wild. We're all going. But it's real. You just don't know. And I think, you know, that's one of the things about the song "Let It Out" when I wrote it, about keeping faith.
And these are songs of freedom as opposed to songs of hatred. That makes sense. Like, because sometimes having just a strong conversation with somebody will free you up. Because you guys understand each other in a different way. You guys are able to hear each other and walk through the ideas. And in some cases, maybe these women haven't heard people, like you said before, haven't heard people singing their story.
Yeah.
You know, and so I can see people very easily saying that it's meant to get his attention, and I can see the people who really are thinking beyond themselves and beyond the shallow parts of life are saying this is going to connect with somebody at some place, because there's somebody going through this same thing that needs just a way to let that angst out.
Right, we'll get into the EP in a second. But what is a song? It doesn't matter if it's a gospel song or a church song or a hymn. What is the song or what's something that you sing to yourself, kind of like in your low moments or when you're like still?
God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me. He has set me free.
You know how the worship be like, we worship.
You know, it don't take much. I'll tap in with you. Okay.
Yeah.
It don't take much.
That's one of my faves.
Yeah.
And then
that sounds pretty decent. So I see you've been practicing. That's good to hear.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Your voice is growing.
When you think about the project and the way it came together, were there songs that you said you chose 5? Were there some songs that you left off, and were there any particular reasons why you left them off?
So I will say this: all the records that are on the EP are the ones that me and my brother did. But I have a whole that I work with other producers, other writers. So we've all worked together. Me and him, me and my brother. I don't know if you know somebody named God Bless This Melody. His name is Brandon. Super dope. I don't know if you know him. He's super dope. But cool. A couple other people, super friends. A producer named AP. I've worked with them separately after I got out of my bad mental space. Okay. So I had been working with them already, and we thought that was actually going to be the first project. And actually during the quarantine, thank God it did happen. That was my moment, another moment of enlightenment for me. I was like, I can't put these old happy ass, sexy ass records out right now. I can't do that. I gotta give people, like, I really gotta be honest. I really have to be honest. And like we were talking about my situation, healing. I gotta let people know why I was distant for a while. They're gonna be like, if she's so happy, why the hell? You know what I mean? Why she acting?
Why she being different? She's so happy.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's just, it wasn't time for that. And when that time comes, it's gonna be the perfect timing. So we gonna get all of this stuff out, all the sadness out, like I've been telling people before. I can give them the happy wit when I get my Sierra Russell moment.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to be the Sierra.
You want to be the Sierra? You know what?
I feel like I am the Sierra, by the way. I'm like, thank you, Lord.
This man.
It's insane. Okay.
I don't want.
When you think about music therapy as a project overall, did you know when you started putting it together that you were going to call it music therapy, or was that something that kind of came to you once it was all finished?
It was something that came to me when it was all finished. I actually had my family in this group chat, and they thought they were going to come up. They sent me like a million different ideas. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to wait until I finish recording Let It Out. Because I had already wrote Let It Out. And I was like, let me finish recording Let It Out and get the sequence together on my own. And then I'll be able to come up with it. I love all y'all ideas, but I have to be able to, you know what I mean? It has to speak to me. So what was crazy, so once I recorded Let It Out, which was the last song that I recorded for it, the order was so organic.
Yeah.
It happened immediately. As soon as I finished that, I was like, okay, yep, and this song is gonna go here. I think this song, yep, and this song is gonna go here. And then I listened to it like 3 times through, and I was like, I think I'm gonna name it music therapy. I told my mom and my dad, I think I'm gonna name it music therapy. They were like, okay.
Was it hard for your family to listen to the songs? Do you know?
Yeah, of course. My dad is better with keeping it together, but my mom is a real Lakeisha from the South Side of Chicago. And on top of that,
where he at right now?
yeah, that, and then my mother grew up seeing her father putting his hands on her mother. So, for her to not know that her daughter was going through that, it was very hard for her. And she always says, if my mama was here right now, she would throw a cane upside his head. I know, but my grandma was my angel, and that's what I talked about in Let It Out.
Speak about that and Let It Out. That's a great segue, because I was going to ask you, I guess it's kind of clear that your grandma passed away.
Yeah.
And so she was kind of like an angel coming to you in spirit, kind of waking you up out of that haze. Were you close to her while she was here?
Yes.
Okay.
I was very close to my grandmother. My grandmother, she sang. She always wanted to be a famous singer. It never happened for her because her grandparents were her parents, my grandmother's parents were very religious.
Okay.
They didn't believe in their children doing anything in the entertainment field. They thought that they should go get jobs, get married, boom. So that dream never came true for her. So when she saw us growing up, I was the only at the time grandchild that sang.
Okay.
So she was so excited. This was life. This is life. She was at every show. She had a fur coat on, honey, her best wig. She she was everything to me and for me. She was that one person I could call for advice. Like she just was, you know what I mean? My grandma was old school, but she was like, look, I have a shot with you. I have a drink. Let's talk. Like these little boys ain't, but then she also pray for you. That was my grandma was everything. And she was a strong woman, and knowing her story of what she went through with my grandfather that's why it was hard for me too, to come to terms with what I was dealing with. I was like, my grandma grew up telling me this.
Yeah.
And that fear, you know how they say the devil tries to creep in when fear is there? He was trying to creep in and just steal all of my joy, all of my strength, all of my, and it almost happened to me.
Yeah.
And my angel came through and was like, what's good?
So clear. That comes across so clear on Let It Out. I mean, that intro, you're like explaining all of that. And I think I'm not a person that usually likes for people to talk on albums. I'm not one of those people that kind of gets into Tyler Perry plays or anything. I always know when somebody's about to start singing, and I always, it always just comes off super cheesy to me, except for when Brandy did it on.
It's Brandy.
It's Brandy. Yeah. So, however you summarized it or decided to summarize it, it's perfect.
It wasn't written down. That's all. It was just from my heart, and that's from my soul.
I'm gonna say each song, and then for the sake of the people who haven't gotten the EP yet or haven't listened to it, if you can just tell us either one word or one sentence that you get when you think of a song. Okay, so we'll start with "Let It Out." This first
song. Mental health.
Okay. Right from wrong.
So many things in that song. I would say abuse, because that's the story of the abuse. Yeah.
Same routine.
That one moment, karma. where you know, just gonna say karma.
Karma.
Don't wish anything bad on nobody, but sometimes, you know, their karma will come.
Yes. Karma's always gonna come, folks. Dirty.
Wine and my girls.
Yes.
Wine and shit talking nights. Can I say?
Yes, you can say that. I know people want to hurt because it's me, but listen. You and then the last song, which honestly, I just love that record. So, what do you think about when you think of it?
Oh, she's not crazy. And I know that's not more than one word, but it's that time where the guy is always going off and saying, "Oh, you know, she's crazy. Oh, she's nuts. Like, that's why no, she's not crazy. This is exactly what's going on. While you trying to feed into your new situation, tell her what's really going on.
And I hope
tell her why she's crazy.
Have to go through what I go through.
Right. Like that's why I started it off with this ain't no bitter baby mama shit. I'm coming on some honest shit. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I probably didn't have the best one words because I'm like, I think of so many things.
Write that on you real quick because I was like, what's the way I can summarize this EP real quick for people? So it's totally okay. You did great. And I agree with all of those words or phrases. It make perfect sense to me.
Thank you.
So you said that you have other projects kind of ready to rock and roll. Are you gonna hold them out a little bit during this quarantine and ride this?
I'm not sure just yet. Because of the release of this and the response, there are some opportunities in the name of Jesus coming my way. Yes. I can't speak on them just yet, but we are in the works with, you know, that and getting that stuff done. But because of this, I don't think that there's going to be a hold off.
It's so good and there's so much content in it and there's so many lessons.
Yeah.
Ride this wave.
Yeah, and I promised that I'm like, I can't keep music from y'all no more. I just can't do it. I refuse to hold back. And at this point, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
I think the artists that are open books usually do the best. You know what I mean? Like, I think the people who can really share their lives in artistry, they usually have a lot something closer to longevity. Because you're able to take everything you live and push it forward and say, here it is. I think y'all might not agree with me on this one, but I think Erykah Badu is that type of person.
Oh, of course.
Okay, cool.
Of course.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think she's like that type of person that her career lasts because with every song, with every piece of it, it sounds like it's coming from, or it feels like it's coming from something, and she's okay with being genuinely her as she transitions and grows into whatever.
You know what's crazy, Dougie?
We're able to see.
What? I was talking about this on the phone with a friend of mine earlier who called me after they listened to the EP and was just so excited and was telling me how they felt it. And I was like, I was thinking about the time that I came into the industry, and that was the time where everybody was like, everybody has to be cookie cutter, clean, commercial. You need to be like this and this and that and this and that. And that had been in my mind too for so long. And that's why I had never cursed on a record. You know, some people would be like, oh, I'm hearing your records and yeah, I feel them. But when I talk to you, like, I love you. And, you know, that was always my battle when I was coming up. Because I'm like, I know my personality. I'm like, I'm from Chicago. I got a lot of, I say the F word. Sometimes it just slip out of my mouth. I say this, I don't mean this. I'm like, I, you know, I'm a little, you know, at times, but then people look at me, they're like, okay, I want you to do this. And that was a big battle for me, you know? So now it's so great to be in this space where I feel free and I feel comfortable and people are accepting me for me. And I feel like I can do anything I want to do and I'm going to manifest it all. I'm manifesting everything. I'm praying. I'm going to do everything. I'm not going to say I'm going to do everything. I'm going to act. I'm going to sing. I'm going to write. I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do. I know it's going to happen. So, and I'm going to be able to do it while being myself.
So all right, I got a couple ask before you leave today.
Yes.
All right. You got to be one of the Clark sisters. Who you going to be? And you can include the mom, too.
I'm going to be the mom and Karen.
The mom and Karen. Because
I be throwing, I don't throw shoes at my child, but I be wanting to sometimes. Like, get it together.
A little shoe throwing spirit on you. It's okay.
Oh,
right,
she was everything. Question. She already had the vision.
Yes.
You got to be a Disney villain. Who you gonna be?
Oh, I'm gonna be one of them kids from what's that? All the Disney villains children's on Disney Channel.
That was clever.
Oh, the one Maleficent's daughter.
Oh, I love Maleficent.
I love Maleficent too.
I don't know if I love it, but I could watch it. I could watch it one more time. Be okay.
Yeah, you tripping in a bed of lies. That's what my son said. You tripping in a bed of lies. How do you not love Maleficent?
So good.
First of all, Angelina Jolie is fine with it. Even finer as a monster.
Whatever she wants to do.
I don't want women with no horns on top of their head. Something about that.
Just a show, a movie.
Yeah.
Use your imagination. As my niece used to say, use your imagination.
First of all, them horns, they could carry your satchel. They could carry. Just
my
think about
it. Your
satchel, your computer bag, your laptop bag.
Like, thanks, Maleficent. Good thing you got those horns on you.
And she can fly you to wherever you need to go. No airplanes, no corona, and that's on that.
Of course.
I thought you had one more question.
Oh, that was it. Those are my two.
My last question before we go is, what exactly did music therapy teach you? What did you come out of this project having learned from your own artistry?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what did you learn?
Speak your mind. Be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And my connection with God is so much better. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith in Him. And I learned that I know even more now that this is what I was put on this earth to do. And I'll never lose faith in that. And I'll never take my talent and my gift for granted ever again.
And there it is, y'all. There it is. And I think that is like the core of everything for artistry. Like, all those things that you said make up, in my opinion, like the best of the best artistry. You know, all raw, authentic, spiritual, fearless, and not necessarily fearless like you'll never be afraid, but fearless in the sense of like, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to share with the world. So I thank you so much for talking to us and your patience with us.
I love y'all. And then I'll hold my pee all day for y'all.
You know what? You know you love somebody when you hold your pee.
Yes.
I've been holding it for so long.
You've been drinking beer, so I know you've been holding it.
I know.
Let us know once again, Whitney Reign, where we can find you, where we can get music therapy, the EP. I will also post it down here somewhere so folks can see. But you let us know where we can kind of stay in contact with you.
Well, you guys can stay in contact with me on Instagram and Twitter at It's Reigns World, Facebook at It's Just Reigns World, and music therapy is available on all platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, Deezer, Tidal, everything. So you guys will be able to listen to it. Whatever it is that you have is also available on YouTube as well. Just go check it out and feel my energy, my light.
Yes.
And for those of you who are going through anything that I've been through, anything like I've been through, I hope this allows you to heal. And those of you that don't understand this type of situation, I hope it sheds light on it and you guys get a better understanding. So thank you guys for having me, and y'all like family. And it's always great to have an interview with people that you love and already know, and it's just good vibes.
Yes, we love you. The KOSIGN podcast. You know, I'm always rooting for you, always, since the way back in the beginning.
I know.
Dougie's new to the party, but he'll be all right.
Hey, I'm in late to a party, so I'm last man standing. So.
Oh my God.
Love you. Thank you. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is the KOSIGN Catch Up podcast episode. First of a few. We can get Dougie to act right. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Hey, guys. Sorry, our camera was doing so much tonight.
Yeah,
man.
it's a lot going on in this video. So to be fair. Do you have any words of wisdom to give the people before we go, Dougie?
It's Reign's world. Party time. Excellent. All I got. They just flowed from me. That was authentic, too.
Look at God.
You know what? When you in the flow,
go.
Bye, y'all, because we'll be out here all night. Bye.
Bye, guys. Y'all so funny.
Dougie, you ready?
Yeah.
That was my intro. Hit me again. One more time.
I'll be right back.
Anyway. Girl.
Why would he run out the door like this?
I don't know. Between him and Jig, who's having a heart attack because he can't get to me.
Oh, the baby.
Honey, he is stressed. Okay. You all right? Are you okay?
Why would he turn to the side like this?
Honey.
Are you all right?
He's stressed. This dog, all he wants is to just be like smack dab in my lap. And he's so big. And I'm right over here by the bar area. He can't turn.
Hallelujah.
iPad, and you can see everybody at one time.
He said hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
No, I'm singing salvation and glory.
Oh.
For the Lord our God is mighty.
Yes.
Our Lord is omnipotent.